downtown Calgary, overlooking Calgary, Alberta. Ain't it pretty? Yeah, that's downtown Calgary, and then the sun's going down so you can't quite see, but the fall colors are starting to change, and it's gorgeous. Hey Nelson, how you doing? As you guys are jumping on, say hi, let me know you're here. Oh, how do you turn it around? There you go. There we go.
There you go. Want me to hold it?
Yeah.
Cool. There you go.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. Hi guys. As you're joining, let us know that you're here. You just got a shot of downtown Calgary in Alberta, and for those that know their trivia, this was the site of the 1988 Olympics.
Yes.
And the infamous Cool Runnings film that we all know and love from the 80s, 90s.
Yes. Daryl,
Right?
Hey Laura.
Hey guys, how you doing? So, drop your favorite Cool Runnings quote below in honor of Calgary.
There's downtown.
Feel the rhythm.
Feel
the rhyme. Get on up, it's bobsled time. And I would say that they had to really balance their masculine and feminine as well.
I would say so too. It's a team.
Team effort. So we are jumping on today, the Yin Yang twins, to talk about this concept of masculine, feminine, of yin and yang, of light and dark, of solar and lunar. We just had the full moon last night. We just had the autumnal equinox, right? Which is when the days and nights are equal in length. And you know, a full moon, when we are just going into the sign of the sun, is just going into the sign of Libra, which is what I am, which is all about the balance, right? And so I'm really interested in talking about this concept of balance, of polarity, and what actually comes to mind when you guys hear me talk about masculine and feminine. Like, what does that mean to you? Those words and concepts are thrown out a lot lately. But I'm really curious how they resonate with you and what they mean. So let me know. What's up, Chris? What's up, Lucretia?
Yeah. I like that name.
Lucretia. So yeah, I'm really curious. We're just talking about masculine, feminine, and what do those words like actually mean to you? We just had the autumnal equinox where everything, like the days and nights are equal, the full moon. And now we're going into the sun sign of Libra, where everything is about balance. Hey, Chris.
What's up, Chris?
Good to see all you guys. And we also just asked everyone to drop their favorite Cool Runnings quotes in the comments below, because we're looking at downtown Calgary right now. So that's Calgary. That's where the magic happened.
True balance.
True balance. Okay. So, hey Michelle, good to see you.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Perfect. I love it.
Awesome. So I'm really curious what comes to mind when you hear us talk about, oh, he's in his masculine or she's in her feminine. The concept of yin and yang, how does it resonate? How does it play out in your own life? I'm going to talk about it a little bit as relates to wellness, and I'm also going to talk about the concept of balance and polarity, because I think it is kind of optimal to balance these sides of ourselves. Like, we all have these, you know, different sides, however you want to call it, solar, lunar, masculine, feminine, yin, yang, you know, intuitive, scientific, whatever you want to call it, logical. But what's coming to mind right now is this quote from Eat, Pray, Love, where she says, sometimes to lose balance for love is part of living a balanced life. And so I think sometimes we lose balance on either side of this, And I honestly think we did as a collective. And so we're just seeing that mirrored in our individual lives. If we lose balance one way or the other, it's part of living a balanced life, right? Like it's part of exploring that one side of ourselves, and part of exploring the other helps us really understand the contrast between the two. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi,
hey,
Stephanie.
everybody. And so I want to talk a little bit about that today, about the contrast between the two, and how maybe sometimes it's okay if you're not masculine, feminine balanced. It's okay, right? It's okay if you've swung to one side or the other. And so I know in my own journey, especially as relates to health and wellness, I really approached it from a really masculine energy for a really long time. And I think a lot of people can resonate with this in our society of like coming at things really in a do mentality, like really assertive mentality, right?
Could you give an example? Like what would that look like for you? Like how would you know you're in your masculine?
Thank you. So in my masculine, as related to wellness, I kind of thought that everything, that my wellness had to do mostly with athletics. Like I played soccer, I ran marathons, I did, basketball, I did weightlifting and strength training, and I really didn't have a lot of more gentle approaches to exercise or life for that matter. I was jumping out of airplanes and, doing and just Zumba class and running around the world and things like that. So I would say I was very much in my masculine, and it served me well for a while until it started to exhaust me, right, as a naturally feminine being. And then I had this whole exploration. I kind of had this moment where I had a car accident, and that's what caused me to explore my more, as we might say, feminine side of my wellness. And so that's when I got really involved in Qigong and yoga and Pilates and just different things that were more gentle. Walking, I couldn't run, I had to walk. So I really started to explore my feminine side, not just in my well-being, but like the outward was a reflective of what was going on inside. So yeah, so I'm thinking about that as relates to my wellness, and I'm thinking about now how, like I would say in the last couple years is when I've really started to feel like an actual balance between my masculine and feminine sides as I approach life, as I approach my business, and as I approach health and wellness for myself. And I think that's what led us to really work together, and I think we're in the same spot as far as that goes. And now coming out with this program that is really masculine feminine balance, that is really yin and yang as far as approaching health and wellness, and that makes me wonder who else out there is feeling like that. Like you guys are, maybe you feel like now it's time to, like, maybe you swung way far, boom. Sorry, maybe you swung.
Boom! I'm cutting out. Boom.
Swung way far in one direction, right? Maybe you swang way far in your yang energy. And got burnt out, to come way far in your yin, and then kind of feel like maybe up in the air a little bit and like you needed to come get grounded, and now swinging back in the middle and kind of like letting the pendulum kind of like rock to a nice center. What does that feel like? I'm really curious of your experiences, and I'm really curious of your experience
Totally
as relates to this.
Yeah, my experience was really similar to Amanda's, whereas I used to be like bodybuilding, like going to the gym all the time, like crushing weights, being like, all right, beast mode. So started off like that, and then eventually same thing happened. I had an injury with my hamstring, and so through my injury with my hamstring, I had to start learning practices like yoga, a lot more restorative stuff, even stuff like flow tanks. Started getting involved in that. And from a psychological perspective, I got really interested in some work from Carl Jung. And Carl Jung talks about the 4 different archetypes. He has the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. And I discovered that I had a lot of warrior energy. And I think that's really something that's been played out in our culture, like what Amanda said about how the inner reflects the outer. I think we have a lot of warrior energy in North America, at least. especially as it relates to athletics and wellness. It's a lot of that kind of warrior energy, you know, like just do it, like Nike and that kind of stuff. It's like, even watching professional sports, it's a lot of warrior energy. So being through that warrior energy, Carl Jung talks about how you have to develop your different archetypes. So something like the warrior could use a lot more of the lover archetype. So I explored my feminine through getting more in touch with my lover archetype, which involved things like writing poetry, spending a lot more time in nature, which changed my life. Love being in nature all the time. So, or what we could call the natural world. So hey, what's up, Mark? So yeah, I'm curious about all your guys' journeys, like what has been your experience in health and wellness. Like, I've worked with a lot of athletes, and being an athlete myself, we're always in that warrior energy, like we got to be working, we got to be hustling, and we are starting to, I find, to place a lot more energy towards the like restorative practices, things like yoga, things like even just relax and having more time.
I think that's
for
super
yourself,
beneficial. I mean, like that hardcore athletes, like we might think of more masculine, that are really taking advantage of a lot more maybe feminine exercises like yoga, restorative practices like that. I think that's awesome, and that makes me think of something, but first I want to check your guys' comments here. Chris said, I had to balance masculine and feminine to get through chemo. Yeah, I imagine so. Now it hits farther in each direction, but constantly changing. Wow, I honor that experience. I'm sure that, woo! And so does this puppy.
Hey. What's up, buddy?
He's attracted to the yin-yang polarity going on here.
Totally.
I've never really thought about this, Lucretia says, I've never really thought about this before, but I will say that we connected today, and I could really resonate with the gentle movement you picked up on with me. Yeah, I have fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, so moving is hard, but realizing it doesn't have to be intense. Yes. So Lucretia's sharing that I read for her earlier today, and she was doing a real gentle dance and a real gentle movement in the energy that I saw for her.
Right.
And like, I'm glad it made that connection for you and resonated for you, that you don't, like, exercise doesn't necessarily have to be intense all the time, right? Hey Danielle, hey Tanny. So that also brings up something really interesting, which is the polarity aspect, right? Like, we're talking about balance, but there's also a polarity, right, between the yin and the yang. So there's like these things that kind of mirror each other, but there's these things that kind of, what's the word? I'm feeling the energy, and I'm not feeling the word.
It's like almost oscillating and magnetizing.
Magnetizing. Yeah, would be a great word for it. And so we've seen that so Tyrone and I have been friends for 6 months or so now, but this is the first time we're spending time together in person, and we're seeing that play out, like, in our adventures in nature and just different things like that. Where
Are you Wim Hofing?
I'm Wim Hofing.
Hey, she's been jumping into the river, like ice cold river, and she's like used to all this Florida weather, which Florida, you know, is a very different energy from Alberta here as well. So
yeah, big difference. You could say there's a polarity there. I've been doing some cold training, some cold water training, but even just like, and Tyrone's been pushing my edges in that way, and really, like, I honor you for pushing me in that way. And then sometimes maybe I push him in different ways, right, to maybe like rest or do different restorative things. And
to appreciate the beauty of life, like if we're like in nature and stuff like that, it was funny to see, because we had the 2 dogs, and the one dog was like off venturing ahead, and I was resonating with that energy of like, boom, like scouting ahead, being like, let's get to the destination, like destination. And
like, it's a journey.
Yeah, she's like, look at the colors, like look at the flowers, like everything, and brought like more energy of like mindfulness and admiring the beauty.
Look
and
at
like
this one blade of grass, right?
This blade of grass.
Yes, the sweetness.
The sweetness
Thank
of
you
life.
for that. Yeah.
So I honor you for that and appreciate that.
Thank you, and I honor you for the the forging ahead as well. There's a
Yes.
time for both.
There is.
So super curious how this plays out in your life, you guys, as far as like masculine, feminine, yin, yang, both like within yourself and then like within your relationships and friendships.
What's up, Becky?
What's up, Becky? So I want to hear how, and especially as relates to health and wellness, because there is a time maybe to approach things from a really masculine perspective and to be really aggressive with your working out. And there's a time maybe, just like I described, that I had to go through where it was several years, you guys, not just weeks or months, but several years of being in my feminine and, having to relearn how to run and be in that like Qigong, yoga, those really restorative, gentle walking exercises. So, and now, if you're in one of those extremes, that's awesome. That's okay. The program we're about to release is when you're kind of swinging the pendulum back to the middle and want to explore both sides of the masculine and feminine. And so we haven't even like released a lot of information about it. But if you guys are interested in resonating with what's going on in these videos the last week or so, definitely let us know, because we're looking for 3 aligned individuals, 3 heaven yeses on both sides for a win-win on this alchemy of well-being, this very much yin-yang balanced approach to well-being, health, wellness.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say about that before I read that comment?
Nah, let's read the comment. That sounds very good. What's up, Shay?
Hey, Shay!
What's up, cuz?
Your cousin
Chris.
mine, right next to each other.
Right? So Chris says,
My God, not on topic, but thinking about the young archetypes, I am now realizing just how far down the magician archetype I have gone, to the point of being a safe in most aspects of my life while still seeking areas to be apprentice in. Thanks for mentioning that. I'll try to send some thoughts to you both that you can use as examples. Yes, absolutely. I would so appreciate that, Chris. And I bet you and Tyrone would have some really good conversations about that. Both of us are really interested in Jungian psychology, so we'd be happy to chat more about that.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I'm feeling complete. Are you?
I'm feeling
Closing
complete
thoughts?
as well, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sage and sage not safe.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
That makes a lot more sense.
Cool. Yes.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
thank you for the sage thoughts today. Thank you for
Yes.
joining us. And definitely, if you guys aren't comfortable commenting below, definitely send us some DMs and let us know your thoughts about, if you, like right now, if you had to bring awareness to how you're approaching your health and well-being. Is it from a yin or a yang perspective, a masculine or feminine? Is it somewhat balanced, and what sort of things does it include? What we're doing is really unique. So
Yeah. And let us know which areas of your life too, because like in some aspects, like with like my business, it requires different, like more masculine or feminine sometimes. And say for example, with like my training regimen for like my physical body, sometimes it requires more masculine while I'm in my feminine of the business. So it's being able to be in those different energies and learn how to play in them. So yeah.
I mean, especially female entrepreneurs, I know there's a lot of you out there that follow me. Like you might have to go into your business and be like in 80% in your masculine that day and 20% in your feminine. You might be in a like get shit done mode. When you come home to your family and your lover, you might flip that script and be 20% in your masculine and 80% in your feminine, So in your different aspects of life, different polarities come through. Shay said I look like I'm freezing.
Seen that.
I was good all day.
Yes.
It was sunny, but now the sun is going down.
Yeah, let's get that
And
sunset.
here's the last shot, you guys. Here's the sunset and Calgary as we're looking at downtown Calgary, which